Welcome to day 9 of our Wellness Bootcamp for Quarantine. Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Minke. This is Minke Wellness. And we have in a boot camp the skill building, right? This is what it's all about. How do I build skills for wellness? And one of the primary skills, and I've talked about this a lot in a lot of my different wellness programs that I've done, but one of the key components is your ability to pay attention to what's happening in your body. That is your best asset. By far, your best asset in your wellness journey is for you to be able to feel and therefore know what's going on. If you've heard my wellness story, my cancer story, I had bone cancer when I was 20, went through chemotherapy, ended up 5 years later with chemotherapy-induced lymphoma, and it was this lymphoma state that at that point I decided I have got to do something different. I'm not going back for chemo to treat chemotherapy-induced lymphoma. And that's when I discovered that I had to be able to, in order for me to make progress, in order for me to make a difference, see, because I had to make a difference. It wasn't like, gee, I don't know if I can do anything. I had to do something about this. Things weren't working in the other system. So I was desperate to pay attention and figure out something, anything that might help, okay? Well, how do I know it's helping? How do you know it's working? That was the key question. I had to be able to tell, if here's my little line graph, I've been mentioning this along the way, if my wellness is going along here, I had to be able to know quickly if my wellness dipped downward or if it was on the upward direction. Right? I needed to be able to tell that. So how do I do that? How do I pay attention? How do I learn to pay attention? And we've mentioned this a number of times, that we learn by contrast. We have something that either pushes our body upward and you go, wow, I feel that. That feels good. Or something that pushes your body downward and you go, whoa, wait a minute, that was bad. Right? So that contrast, that change in trajectory is what kind of triggers the increase in awareness. Well, today we have we're using an oil out of our kit that is probably one of the best oils to help us get in tune with what my body is doing, especially regarding a wellness tool, and that's peppermint oil. We all know about peppermint oil in terms of, heard about it. It's mints, fresh mint, and the minty fresh, and used for candies that you use after dinner, or you get a little candy. I mean, it's been used in the medical aroma. let me back up. The herbal pharmacopoeia. When I say medical medicine, it's been used in herbal medicine for thousands and thousands of years, right? And anyone back in 1,000 years ago could pick a leaf, chew on it and go, ooh, minty freshness, right? I mean, that was something that was so immediate and obvious. And they used it as flavoring agents, and then eventually we could get to the point of distilling out those compounds that were creating that, that creates that minty freshness and that effect. And that's what we have now in the peppermint oil. If you look at the herbal books and they talk about peppermint tea, for example, and you get the leaves, fresh leaves, and you make a tea out of it, and you get the benefit. And what are some of the benefits of peppermint tea? Well, soothing digestion. And as probably the number one benefit, or cooling the body, cooling it down. Well, we all experience this pretty easily with something like peppermint oil. Even if you didn't tip the bottle up and did what I say not to do, which is just sniff at the oil bottle, even just sniffing at the oil bottle, you can already tell, ooh, coolness, right? That coolness. You can immediately feel in the tissue something that's happening. And that's one of the benefits, like I said, of the peppermint, is that it can give us that immediate awareness that something is happening, and what is that. Peppermint is so clear in that. And so we're going to take this opportunity. Like I said, peppermint has many, many uses. If it were used topically, this I'm showing you as a supplement. If it were used topically, we've used that as muscle rubs to cool. I've used it even being outside, been too hot, and I put it on the ears to cool down. Anytime you need to cool the body, putting a little drop of peppermint on the ears, really nice to cool that down. But those are external applications. Today we're going to talk about internal or supplement applications, which is awesome. because as we take that oil internally and put it in the mouth, the first stage of taking something internally is in the mouth. Well, here's where, again, we have an awesome opportunity to affect two systems at once, okay? The respiratory system and the digestive system both start right here, right up here in the mouth. The respiratory system, of course, this is the airway, whether it's the nasal airway or the mouth. The air is coming in, and of course it goes down the trachea into the lungs, whereas in the food category, we bring it into the mouth, we taste it, we chew it. We've been talking a couple of days, 3 days ago, about chewing the food and starting our whole digestive process here. And of course, we swallow it and it goes back farther into the esophagus, hopefully not into the lungs. So, but what I'm saying is this is an opportunity for us to feel what happens right here in this cavity right here that can affect both the respiratory system, like I said, sinuses. And anyone experienced that clogged sinuses, right? It affects our ability to breathe. We can't breathe through the nose. That impacts our breathing. We have to breathe through the mouth. Then it dries out the throat, all that stuff we've known about. The other thing that drainage in the sinuses, if there's a lot of drainage irritation, it drips that mucus, that drainage into the stomach and dilutes the stomach acid and affects our digestion. So there's actually that, again, we're seeing that connection. Last time when we were talking about digest, we were talking about the effects of digestion on the respiratory system, but it actually works the other way too. If the respiratory system is constantly leaking, draining too much mucus, then that gets into the stomach, it weakens the digestive processes, and we end up with poorly digested food, which downstream from that can end up with the leaky gut, because the gut gets inflamed because the food is getting through, it's not digested properly. If poorly digested food and poor quality digestive juices it is not able to control yeast growth, the yeast grows, causes inflammation. Inflammation splits the lining of the gut, and then that stuff gets it into the bloodstream, creating an immune response. And so we've got food allergies. So you see how all of these things run together. So as I've been mentioning, that we kind of talk about body systems, but really there really isn't. It's a whole body. We are a whole complete body, and we've got to be well. We're only as healthy as our weakest link. And again, this idea of knowing, of body awareness and learning this. And this is a great way to learn this. Peppermint oil is a great way because we can actually start to feel what's happening as I put a drop of peppermint in water and drink that. That peppermint oil moves into the tissue immediately. And I'm talking in the mouth. You can already feel it. When you put a drop of peppermint, I'm just going to drip a drop of peppermint in my mouth. You could put it in water. There's a lot of different ways to do it. But just that one little drop of peppermint in the mouth immediately, it's very strong taste. Wow. The coolness right up in the sinuses. If my sinuses needed to be cleared, needed to be opened up, that drop of peppermint in the mouth would be already doing the trick, okay? And the reason is the peppermint oil, the actual molecules, are moving into the tissue that quickly. Whoosh, going quickly into the tissue. So I get an opportunity to experience, and then of course as I breathe, I just took a breath through the mouth as I'm talking, and that coolness came into the lungs. Wow, what a nice feeling. And then as I swallow, this peppermint oil is going down the esophagus. So I'm getting both the lungs, which is the trachea is actually in front, the windpipe is in front of the esophagus in the back. Both of those are getting this nice coolness. Wow, it's really starting to feel that penetration of it. So it's not about like taking it in a capsule, which you could. That would be a very different application. But do you see how having a drop in water and put in your mouth, or just a drop directly in the mouth, has a completely different effect in terms of the application? And here's an opportunity to really feel how that is working in the tissue and experiencing the oil in the body, in the tissue, and feeling that. So it's an opportunity to check in with this. So this lesson today is more about an opportunity to feel what's going on in the body and in your body tissues, and using peppermint as a tool for that. Of course, there are benefits to peppermint directly in terms of the actions, but I'm kind of using this more as an awareness tool and less talking about the awesome benefits. But there are awesome benefits, of course. Happy wellness, one day at a time.